All right. Hello, hello, hello. As people are coming in, I'm just going to wait a minute. If anyone's already in here and you already have a question that you can think of, please do feel free to put that into the chat, and we'll get to that. I'm just going to wait a few more seconds, and then we're good. Okay, I'll get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Computer Sciences 2 room. My name is Fitz. I will be your host for today's panel. My pronouns are they, them. I'd like to begin by gratefully acknowledging that Science World is located on the traditional and unceded land of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. We will start today with a quick introduction from our amazing group of mentors, followed by a hosted discussion. Like I said, if you have any questions, please do feel free to put those in the chat. Our technician today is Vaishnavi, who will be monitoring the chat. If you have any tech issues, she'll be happy to assist. We ask that you keep comments in the chat and the question section just respectful and relevant to the topics being discussed, please. So now it is time to meet our mentors. Those will be brought up on screen right now. Let's just make sure all cameras are on. Awesome. So we'll do a quick introduction. So if you want to tell us your name, your job title, and the thing you love most about your career, we can start with Ruhi.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ruhi Afza, and I'm working with SAP Labs from the last 16 years. And I'm a quality lead for 3 great products at SAP. And the best thing of my job, what I like, is networking. And I'm working in a company which promotes women empowerment. So that's the best thing. And I love to be with SAP for many more years. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. So Antonina, if you want to go next.
Yeah, sure. I'm Antonina. I teach computer science in Memorial University of Newfoundland, of all places. And the best thing, I love figuring out new stuff, and especially I like figuring out stuff with students. You know, when you talk to each other and everybody's eyes light up. Yes, that's it. That's it.
All right, so Nandini.
Hi everyone, I am Nandini. I've been working with SAP for 2 years. Technically, I'm employed as a scholar. What this means is that I am able to pursue my master's in computer science while also acting like a software developer with multiple teams. So, I am currently working as a full stack developer with one of our products for a low code, no code application. The best part about my work is that a lot of it is like puzzle solving, writing code and working on it, debugging it. It's super fun and definitely not like memorizing a lot of things, which is something that I'm not very good at.
Awesome, thank you. So again, I'm just gonna say if you have any questions, feel free to put those in the comments section. But I will start with my first question. So sort of in the broad field of computer science and all that you can do with it, what is the coolest thing that you think you've done? We can go in the same order again. So if Ruhi, you want to start?
Yeah, the coolest thing what I feel is that the networking with which we carry out with different colleagues across team every colleague you meet is an inspiration, motivation, and new learning every day. And the best thing at SAP is that they provide us various opportunities which we can try out. And yeah, so my company feels that the employees are the greatest asset, and that's the best thing. And the cool thing is what I feel.
Awesome. So, Antonina, if you want to go next.
Yeah, the coolest thing in terms of a project, so one thing that I really love about computer science, especially theory, is how everything connects to everything. My friend called it the spaghetti model of computer science. You pull one spaghetti, none of them come out. So recently we had a project which started talking about theory, went into cryptography, and ended up automated music generation. And it flowed naturally into each other, believe it or not.
That's really interesting. Yeah. So, Nandini, if you want to go next.
Yes, so I have done a lot of cool stuff at work, not just related to the kind of applications that we've developed, but also the opportunities that we get to innovate. There are multiple hackathons that keep on happening where we're encouraged to come up with new product ideas or just new projects that we'd like to work on. And I think that really makes me feel like I work in a really cool place.
Yeah. Um, those are some definitely really cool opportunities that you get there with sort of computer science. It's a bit of a pivot now. I suppose, especially for students who are thinking of getting into computer science. Um, what was your path into Compsci, and how did you get started in your career? We can go in the same order again. So, Ruhi, if you want to go.
Sure. I always dreamt of becoming a teacher during my childhood, always. Over the time, I realized that when got more matured, I started developing various other skills. So I started as I had my elder brother who was, moving towards the computer. So I also decided to follow him. And then it's the same thing that got an engineering seat at the for computer science, and carried there were a lot of challenges, struggles which happened over the period of time. But yeah, so after I completed my engineering, I put my first step in the metro cities of India, and thereon we started searching for jobs. And with I think we tried for almost 6 months, and then a lot of interviews, a lot of walk-ins which I attended, and got a call once from SAP, and I did my best. That I treated it as a last job, or the last interview what I have, so I should do the best. And then we got an HR round the same day and got offered the next day. So that is something which was very interesting, yeah, for me.
Yeah, so we're going in the same order. So, Antonina.
Or actually, if Nandine wants to go first.
Oh, sure. So, Nandini, if you want to go first.
Um, yeah, sure. So I think I got into this particular field based because of the influence my family has had on me. They've always supported me, and there were times when I was really confused about what to do in my life, and it has just been the way, like the most comfortable choice for me. I remember when I was in my first year of undergraduate classes, college, I would. I fell in love with my subjects. We were taught these two particular subjects, that is structures and algorithms, and digital electronics and microprocessors. It made me realize that it's just pure logic. And ever since then, I've always dreamed of being a coder. Like comfort to experience and finally being here that I am.
Awesome.
Yeah, so thank you. So actually, just kind of to follow up on this, um, so my mom is an astrophysicist, and I would hang out in the lab with her. She had some computers and she programmed. But the thing that really got me into it is also problem solving, the puzzle solving. One time at the dinner table, she was talking about, oh, you know, there is this asteroid. We can't figure out if it's one object or two rotating around each other. What do we do? I was like, Mom, actually, I'm playing around with this package. Can I try to program it? And we figured it out and published the paper. It was so cool. So that kind of determined the path from there on.
That's really cool, yeah. All right. So I guess if we're talking about getting into the career, I think what scares a lot of people away from computer science can be that there's sort of this stigma or reputation around it that you have to be really good at science or some sort of like math genius to get into the field or to get a job in the field. So I guess, do you think that's true, or what other skills do you think there are that are really valuable to being a good computer scientist? Ruhi, if you want to go first again.
Yeah. So, yes, that you need to know maths, but not definitely a genius at maths for computer programming. All that you need is a bit of common sense and ability to think. As my friends also mentioned, kind of a logical thinking. Yeah. So many people either lack of both of these, common sense and ability to think. That's where the programming or computer programming becomes not their cup of tea. Yeah. So the best tool is to get started with a pen and paper and start um, learning a lot of other problem solving puzzles, or it could be any of the questions on the net. You have plenty of them, and that's how you can get started. Yeah.
Yeah, Antonina, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, so I was just thinking about my mentor in undergrad. Who's amazing computer scientist, one of the biggest people in our field. And I remember talking to her, and at some point she said, oh, wait a moment, I'm not sure how to do it, but I know who does. She picks up the phone and calls somebody and says, hey, do you know how to solve this problem? And then she calls next day somebody else, and soon enough, we figure it out just by bringing together people who somebody knew this, somebody knew that. A lot of what I find is it's not about ability as much as excitement, and if you can figure it out, maybe you have friends who can, and it's even more fun.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Nandini, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, I would just like to add on to what Antonia said that it's mostly about the it's similar to as any other field. You just need to be really good at communication and teamwork, and once you are good at that, you develop the skills that are necessary to become a good computer science person. Plus, it's not just limited to coding. There are multiple fields inside it. So there's also QA, there's also DevOps that don't require that much math and science capabilities. You could also go towards the product management side of it, which is management. So it's just it's not really the kind of abilities you learn in school, but just who you are as a human. Like if you're good at communication and networking, you'll be awesome at it.
Yeah, so that was some really great insight from you guys. Building off that, oh, we've lost Nandini. I guess we'll just keep going with you two. So building off what we were just talking about, what's sort of some other advice that you can think of that you would.
I'm sorry, I just had to pop in actually. No, there was some tech issues with Nandini, so they're trying to log back in, and then hopefully it should be fine. So sorry about
All right. Hi.
Hi.
All right. So, yeah, let's keep going with this next question. So, what's some other advice that you can sort of think of, especially for a younger student who's interested in getting into computer science? What's some advice that you could give there? So, Ruhi, if you want to start.
Yeah, definitely. So learning on the job is completely different and what you're learning there. So learn as much as you can during your studies and work as a team. Attitude and ego will always take you down in the future. So try to have that nil. Yeah. And one thing is that interaction will be too much in the computer science where you go to a higher level or something. So always try to learn new things, develop your skills skill set. And one thing what I think is if you want to move in computer science, then try to connect students with role models in the fields. Try to take many more computer focused activities and just focus on the success and you'll be there.
Awesome. Yeah, Antonina, you can go ahead.
And just to add to that, I know some students that I mean, they think that they need to wait till grad school to do research. You could do research now, and it's fun, especially if you have friends to do it with. And one actually very special thing about computer science, especially programming, is that we have a luxury of getting instant feedback. You could actually program something and see it in front of you, and it's a joy that's that's hard to compare with anything. So, if you're interested, just do something now, whatever excites you, whatever you can do with your friends.
Yeah, Nandini, if you want to go ahead.
There's not a lot of advice, just that do something that makes this feel fun for you. So there are a lot of applications, or rather platforms, available where you can practice various aspects of computer science. It could be slide coding stuff, or problem solving stuff, data structure stuff, or even stuff like assisted coding. And it's fun. Make If it's fun for you, if it excites you, like Antonina said a little while ago, it's great. Do something that makes you fall in love with it.
Yeah, so I guess considering that advice now, and there's so much that you can do with sort of computer science in the world nowadays, especially as someone who's still younger. Um, but do you guys have maybe any specific resources or even non-specific, just like sort of theoretical resources that you would recommend that sort of younger people, uh, think 12 to maybe 15, 16, could really
I'll
take
just
advantage of?
I'll just put some links forth in the chat, and maybe you can share them
Sure,
with the
sure,
group, right?
definitely. Um, yeah, so Vaishnavi can share those, and then yeah, if you just have anything that you want to say about that.
So, Geeks the Geeks and Lead Code will give you small courses and tips, as well as they'll have a huge platform plethora of collection of questions that you can solve. And those questions will be ranging in the difficulty. So once you're able to do the easy ones, you automatically want to do the more difficult ones. It's like solving a Sudoku puzzle. Once you are able to do the level easy, you want to go to the level medium, and so forth. It just makes it more fun.
I I actually had graduate students in my algorithm class I'm teaching right now coming to me and saying, "Can we please do lead code instead of assignment?"
Yeah, it's fun, no?
Great, yeah.
And maybe
How
I
about
just add
yeah,
one more thing here. Yeah, may I
yeah,
may I
sorry, I was
add
just
one more
about to
thing
ask.
here? So there is something called as W3 Schools, which is a platform where you can learn, test, and train yourself. There are wonderful examples, which starts with basic understanding and good tutorials and references. I would paste the link in the chat.
Awesome. Yeah, those are some really good resources. Um, so Yeah, that's pivoting a bit. Maybe some, I mean, we are trying to get people very interested in computer science here, or maybe considering their options within the field. So maybe this could be based on something you've done with computer science that people wouldn't really expect from it, or just anything you can think of. What's something about computer science, like the field, the discipline, um, coding, whatever, that most people don't know or maybe wouldn't think of? Ruhi, you can go first again.
Yeah, one thing is that many people feel that you have to be something really good at programming, and in the computer science field. Yeah, I agree that there is, but then it's all a learning. Yeah, you can get the two skills which I talked about: the ability to break down the problems, and logical thinking, and the common sense. That's it. If you can pair up to that, then you would definitely become a very good programmer and come up with very new solutions. A lot of innovative one, creative one will you will just crack those. Now, that's something which I would definitely say here.
Antonina, if you want to go.
Well, actually, let Nandini go first this time.
Okay. Nandini, you want to go?
Um, there's not a lot of specifics that I have. I think it's already been said by Ruhi and Antina, and I'd just like to reiterate that we can learn a lot more than just coding. There's multiple options in this particular field, so there are multiple skills that can aid you. Uh, that's about it.
Actually, thank you for saying it. You said it. I was trying to figure out how to say it, but you said it much better. I was thinking how many of the people that I know that are amazing computer scientists, uh, I had to sit down with my supervisor and show him the big name how to use some email clients. So there are lots of different skills and there are lots of different abilities. Some people are great at coding, some people are great at logic, and some people are great at applications, and all of those are facets of computer science.
Yeah, so I saw, Antonina, you put in chat earlier, a neural network that could create music. That's really interesting, especially sort of if you're thinking about the interdisciplinary things and sort of the things you wouldn't really think that you can do with computer science. Do you want to maybe tell us a bit about that?
I could tell you a little bit because
Sure.
so I was teaching first year computer science course, and I had a group of students that came to me and said, "Can we do something together?" And so for several years, we had a project which started by looking at proving that things are hard and going to cryptography. And then at some point, somebody said, well, wait a moment, maybe we could turn it upside down. And rather than proving that things are hard, actually create things. Oh, what can we create? What's around us? Oh, music. Let's try to create music. And so we ended up creating music because that's what we found, because that's what was around. And we wanted to test this idea on something. So if anybody wants to have their very own Irish-like melody, you're welcome to go on the website and click on it until you get something that you hopefully like.
Yeah, that's really cool. Um, so I know we've been mentioning them a lot, and I'm not really sure whether um, anyone has specific expertise anywhere, but there's all these different sort of aspects to computer science. Like there's cryptography, and there's robotics and machine learning stuff, and there's cybersecurity, and there's um, sort of the tech we interact with every day. So if any one of you sort of has something that you sort of work with that you think you want to maybe tell us about a bit, uh, that would be really cool.
So
Yeah.
please go ahead,
Go
Ruby.
on, Nandini.
Ruhi, you can go first.
Okay. Yeah, so there are a lot of opportunities with IT, as you mentioned very clearly. But over the period of time, it goes on changing. Yeah, so the top five growth opportunities as of now for IT is big data, the cybersecurity, cloud computing, and mobile app development is what I can think of right away. Over to you, Nandini.
Yeah, so I currently work in web app development. Web apps can be used on laptops or on mobiles. They're reactive. Um, they can translate well onto a mobile device as well. So I work with texts such as Java and Spring Boot for the backend, and those are two coding languages that are mostly used by enterprises, and they're not as fun. So if anybody wants to learn, I would suggest start with maybe Python. And for the front end, we use Angular framework with TypeScript. So I would like to mention that when it comes to the kind of profiles that you have in CS, okay, it's not really that much about the tech stack or the kind of technologies that you use, because these tech stacks do keep changing. So the technology that you'll be working on, it's very much in flux. It'll then something new will come up, some other or the other integration will come up, and this is not the primary focus of it. It's more about the profile, that either you work in coding, or you work in making sure that what you've coded is reaching the public, is reaching the end user successfully. That would be the DevOps part of it. There's also a DevSecOps, where you make sure that it's reaching the end user and it's secure as well. Like the application is secure for both the end user and the enterprise that's making it. There's quality people who, like Ruhi, who make sure that, again, there's the security aspects, the quality aspects of any application that you're making, it's completely fine. Such and so forth, there are multiple profiles that will differ in tech throughout their tenure, throughout their lifetime. And I would just focus more on the kind of work that makes you feel happier. Rather, like if you're more into using other platforms, DevOps is better for you. It's cooler. There's not a lot of coding in it, like not a lot of proper coding in it. And if you're more into, if you're a very vigilant person and you can think of a lot of scenarios to something, go into quality. Like that will probably make you really good at your work. And similar to development, it's puzzle solving. So focus more on the kind of work that you have to do rather than the tech. Like like even for that matter, ML uses a lot of Python and frameworks, right? Libraries, it uses NumPy, etc. Those are just the kind of technologies that you'll be working with. It's mostly about the ultimate work that you'll be doing.
Yeah,
Yeah, awesome. Oh, sorry.
yeah, if I may add, so one question people often ask is what programming languages to learn. And in my experience, although admittedly I'm in academia, so I'll totally trust the rest of your mentors on what is done in industry. I've seen so many languages come and go in not such a long time that I've been around, that it's not about learning Python versus Java. It's more about learning to puzzle solve using some computational method. And once you learn a few languages, you just pick up whichever the next one comes around when you need it. So.
Yeah, so again, I just want to make sure I repeat this because last time I forgot to. If anyone's in the chat and wants to ask a question, we have about 5 minutes left, so we can still get to that. But I do have another question. Um, So, like we've already covered now, you do all work in computer science, but your jobs within that look quite different. Um, if it would be possible, um, to maybe just give us sort of a rundown of maybe what your day to day looks like what sort of things you're working with, um, maybe whether you're working with a lot of people or not that many people. I know that things have been different now because of COVID, but just sort of if someone wanted to get into maybe your specific field of the tech world or of computer sciences, what they could expect from that. So, Rohi, if you want to go first.
Okay, so typically for a programmer, it could be in different coding projects. Daily duties might include writing and testing code for new programs. Yeah, so since I'm into quality, most of the time goes with verifying, validating the product, and also networking with various teams who are using our product, dealing with customers. And it's all the time multiple tasks which I do at one time. It's not just that I do a testing or validate a product, but most of the things I'll be doing also parallelly, that I'm talking to a customer and then answering a query over the chat with other across teams. So it's completely multitasking, and I really enjoy it every day. It's too good that whomever you meet, they inspire you, you learn from them, and you get motivated every day.
Yeah, Antonina, if you want to go next.
Yeah, because I'm at university, a lot of my day revolves around uh, teaching and other university business that takes more time than I wish to. So, for example, other than preparing lectures and grade what students did in my courses, I'm also on my to-do pile. There are things like refereeing a bunch of papers and looking at graduate student applications and lots of emails to answer. But the best part is probably meeting with my students and colleagues. I love working with people. I love talking to people and getting each other excited and getting new things. So yeah, between meeting, email, meeting, oh yeah, I forgot to review this. That's kind of my day.
Yes, and Nandini, if you want to go ahead.
Uh, so I'm not a very I don't particularly enjoy sitting in meetings a lot. So that's why my profile suits me very nicely. We have very few meetings for us. Whether we have meetings where we have to just talk about our work and not the broader business implications of it. So if you want, you can do it, but it's not a mandate. And I think that is something that's really cool about my particular role. It's focused more towards what I like to do, which is puzzle solving, rather than going ahead and thinking about the different kind of business use cases it can have.
Awesome. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, like it's really interesting how like even within this one field, your days can look very different. Um so most of you or some of you at least sort of touched on this already. But since like computer sciences is such a fast growing field, and it may not look like now what it did back when you were sort of getting interested in it, um, did you sort of always know that this was the sort of work you wanted, or was it more based on like, like you mentioned, like, oh, I like solving puzzles, so this is the logical next step, or was there something more specific? I know most of you have already sort of touched on this, but if there's anything that you wanted to expand on there, maybe we'll go the other way around this time. Nandini, you can go first.
I don't remember anything very specific as to what brought me to my current role. Like I said, in the first year of college, I realized that this does interest me. So it just seemed like whatever this would be the best opportunity that gets my foot in the door, I would probably take it. And I'm still working. I'm still working in my first job and my first workplace. So I think there's a lot more for me to experience and grow. Uh,
Yeah, so Antoniana, if you want to go next.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that a lot of my kind of journey was pure luck and accidents. It was I kind of broadly knew that I wanted to do physics or math or biology or something along those lines, but I grew up in a family of scientists, so to me it was very natural to follow my mom's footsteps. Uh, Going specifically to computer science, I actually did my undergrad in both mathematics and computer science, and then I was very lucky in my um, third year to meet my mentor, Tony Pitasi, who just got a job in that university. And I came to her after a class and said, "This is really interesting. Are you doing? Can you give me something?" She said, "Wait a moment, I'll print you papers." And this is what got me into the field where I am now, even though I didn't even know that field existed until I talked to Tony and started working with her. Then she introduced me to her supervisor, and I did my PhD with him, and that's where I am now. So it was really um, series of meeting people and meeting opportunities.
Awesome, yeah. So, Ruhi?
Yeah, so as my organization offered me the development opportunity during the start of my career, I started with it. I think almost like 8 years I was into just coding and development and testing it. But latest during my journey, I realized that I'm good at networking and not just sitting in front of the computer and do coding and giving some small chunk of code. But I wanted to realize what is the big picture of the product. How is it really used by the customer? What are the processes they follow? In when they use this particular application, what we have developed so far. And that's the reason I moved to quality, where I started understanding the more not inside about the product, but everything about the product overall. So that's where I am in that.
Awesome. Well, I think that's all the time we have today, sadly. So thank you guys so much for really giving great advice. Those were great answers to all my questions. Thank you to everyone in the chat for joining us today. Remember, there are more sessions happening on Saturday, so be sure to plan what you are going to attend then. And see you next time. And again, thank you to the mentors.
Thank you for having
Thank you
us.
so much.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
thank you so
much.
much for the opportunity. Bye
Yes.
bye.
And hope to see some of the people somewhere in grad school or undergrad.